This is a huge departure from what we've gotten with the first two. So it's a different feel, it's a different ride. And I like it.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Will, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today I will be doing a non-spoiler review for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This stars Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Catherine Newton, Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas, and introduces us to another version of Jonathan Majors' Kang the Conqueror. This is also directed by Peyton Reed, who has returned for the third and most likely the final standalone Ant-Man/Wasp movie that we're probably going to get in the MCU, at least in the foreseeable future. The third of the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie series that we have gotten, with all the way back with Ant-Man, and then with Ant-Man and the Wasp that we got back in 2018. It's probably 19. If you're new to the channel, thanks for checking out this video. Again, my name is Will, and I do geeky stuff on the internet. I do reviews and reactions and a whole bunch of other interesting things on this channel. And I try to have a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoy these videos as you watch them. And if this happens to be your bag, and if you're interested in hearing that sort of thing from a geeky bear like myself, subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. It would really help this channel out immensely. So let's talk about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Sees the return of Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man. And in this version, I mean, Ant-Man is pretty well known. After the events of Avengers Endgame and his exploits with the Avengers, he is a full-fledged Avenger, or at least that's what he keeps telling everybody. And he is taking all the fame and popularity that comes with that to a certain extent. And we also see that Hope has taken over her father's business and is running it and using the technology to actually help benefit mankind, affordable housing for people, sustainable food and things like that. So it really looks like everything's going well for Scott and for Hope. There is a little bit of a hiccup with Cassie, being that Cassie, played by Catherine Newton, is taking up very much a similar lifestyle to her father. Not necessarily a criminal lifestyle, but she has been in jail a few times more than Scott actually knows, and we start to get the idea that this story is really based around Scott trying to regain some sort of relationship with his daughter. You remember, Scott was trapped in the quantum realm for the time during the blip, and he missed a lot of time with his daughter, to the point where she's completely played by a different actress than we saw in Avengers Endgame. I don't even know why they actually recasted her, but hey, I get it. You want name recognition. Anyway, let's continue. A lot of this story kicks off once they begin to experiment with communicating with the quantum realm, to the horror of Janet, who is very upset that they're trying to communicate with the quantum realm. And they get sucked into the quantum realm. They get sucked into the quantum realm and have to deal with the menace known as Kang the Conqueror, played by Jonathan Majors. That's the basics of the movie, and it's mainly about them trying to get home and also stopping Kang from escaping the quantum realm. That's the gist of the movie, without necessarily spoiling any of the big things from the movie. It is a much bigger scale of a movie than we've gotten with the first two Ant-Man movies. The first two Ant-Man movies really focused on the whole heist elements of what makes the character of Scott Lang kind of fun, with his old running crew and stuff like that. None of them are actually in the movie because the setting has gone from a terrestrial base in our regular old San Francisco, California, to the mind-blowing visuals of the quantum realm and some of the people and encounters that they have in the quantum realm as well. Let's put a counter and see how many times the script will word quantum. I'm probably up to 3 right now. It's visually a lot more crazy than the last two Ant-Man movies have been. I wasn't necessarily a huge fan of Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I really did enjoy the first Ant-Man movie. And this one, I honestly did enjoy it. Is it in like the upper echelon of MCU movies? No, it's not. It has a lot to do. It has a lot to kind of get across. But one of the things that it really focuses on in the movie is establishing Jonathan Majors' Kang the Conqueror as the terrifying threat that he was led to be when we first encountered He Who Remains during the Loki series. This version of Kang is different from He Who Remains. If you actually watch the Loki series, it's a different variant of Kang, and Kang is a multi-dimensional being, long Avengers villain, long villain of the Fantastic Four and other heroes within the Marvel Universe. So this is his major introduction. And I think the way they introduced Kang and the performance from Jonathan Majors is super well done. It is, for me, the highlight of the movie. Immediately has a presence in the movie, but before he's properly introduced to our heroes, you can feel the presence and the threat that Kang is across anybody you encounter within the quantum realm. And they kind of talk about him like the boogeyman, which I think is a really cool way of introducing him. And when he first is introduced, I really got the same sort of vibes I got from like the first introduction of Darth Vader in the original Star Wars trilogy. Just like the presence that he has on screen and with the heroes is calm and menacing all at the same time. And this is like some of the best portrayals of villains to me, as someone who doesn't have to raise their voice to get their point across. We get a lot of new introductions of new characters. Of course, Cassie Lang, she dons her outfit of Stinger, which is like the newer version of her. I know she's gone by Stature in the comics before. She does play a pivotal role in the movie. It's her tinkering with Pym Tech that allows them to help build the communication to the quantum realm. It shows that she's taken time to learn a lot about the quantum realm, and Pym particles, and things like that, to kind of really take up the legacy of the family, basically, because she does refer to Hank as her granddad, which is sweet, which is really cool. You can definitely see the familial relationships that have formed from that. They don't outright say that Scott and Hope are a thing, but it's basically just implied. And it seems more like they're like just a gelling family, which is really cool. But that's also where some of the familial issues come from between Scott and Cassie, and also between Hope, Hank, and then Janet, because of Janet's not being forthcoming about her time in the quantum realm. A lot of that kind of comes back to bite them in the butt when it comes to the events that take place while they're trapped down there, and with some of the other people that they encounter in the quantum realm. But Jonathan Majors is definitely a highlight. And this movie's main focus, at least for me that you can tell, is really pushing Kang as the threat, Kang as a character, establishing his motivations, establishing what Kang can do, and why this person of all people is getting a subtitle in the next Avengers movie. You had to establish that in this movie, and I think they did a good job establishing Kang as the big bad of Marvel's Phase 5 and 6. If not this version, other versions that we might see down the road as well, because we got Loki Season 2 coming out, where we know that Kang plays a role in Loki Season 2 as well. I was surprised at how much Hank and Janet did in the movie. I really went into this thinking that they were going to be just like non-factors in the movie, but the movie does make them useful while all of them have been sucked down, because of course Cassie plays a big role in the movie. Of course Scott is a big important role in it as well. One negative I will say is that I don't feel like Hope got a lot to do. She definitely played support to Scott a lot of the time, but I just wish they had more for Hope Van Dyne to do in the movies besides just being competent. I mean, I think Evangeline Lilly plays the character really well, and I like the character. I just want them to have more for the character to do besides just I'm good at stuff, and that's fine, but I just wanted a little bit more than what she got time to really kind of do in the movie. That was one thing about the movie that kind of fell a little bit flat for me, but it didn't take away from my overall enjoyment of the movie, because I kind of knew what this movie was really focusing on. This movie's real focus was establishing Kang, and to a certain extent establishing Cassie as more of a future player and future projects in the MCU, because we know through all of Phase 4 was really about introducing new characters and getting these new characters over with the general audience, and also setting up threads that will be more important down the road, setting up Earth-based stuff like with the new Captain America, the Thunderbolts, all that sort of thing, to also setting up more space-based stuff with the Eternals and with what we're going to get with Guardians Volume 3 and that future. But also, another thing that they have subtly set up throughout most of the movies is the Young Avengers, and Cassie Lang is a Young Avenger, so you had to bring her to the forefront in this movie, which caused a lot of other people to kind of get shifted down a little bit. In terms of character development, most character development is really done to Kang. I mean, Ant-Man, Wasp, Hank, Janet, I mean, all of them are kind of the same at the beginning of the movie that they are at the end of the movie. With a little bit of a change with Janet once she opens up more about the quantum realm. But besides that, character development-wise, nobody really changed that much. And I can see how that could be like a detriment, especially this being the third movie. But I knew what the movie was really focusing on between like marketing and between actually once I got through a good portion of the movie, that the focus of this movie was really establishing Kang. And I think if that was the focus of what the movie was going for, then they succeeded very much so. Scott Lang's character, he's basically kind of the same person. You know, a lot of the movie was touting about being an Avenger and all of his exploits, but he hasn't really done much since. Whereas Cassie is really becoming more active, and I think that's the kind of fear that Scott had to a certain extent. You know, as the movie progresses, they reconcile those differences and stuff. And maybe Scott will be a little bit more active in the future, but it didn't feel like there was much of a change once you got through the movie, basically. He was kind of the same at the beginning as he was at the end, just with a few more broken bones, because let's just say, when it comes to him fighting Kang, that boy took some licks.
Stop! He's already dead!
I liked some of the cameos in the movie. I thought Bill Murray's character in the movie was a lot of fun. Not necessarily in it very much, but he was very much a presence for the time that he was in the movie. Probably say my favorite character was MODOK. Like, MODOK being in the movie, first off, the fact that they even did MODOK. And how they brought MODOK to life and how they tied it in to the previous movies was also really well done. That's kind of a spoiler, like I don't want to give that part away, but if I do a spoiler review, I'll talk about that sort of thing. But I really like the MODOK character. I thought that was a mixture of being just a good antagonist, but more so just comedy relief. So just kind of like a henchman for Kang, but Kang just treated him like crap, and I thought that was fun. It's an enjoyable movie for me. I actually had fun with the movie. I usually try to judge movies in terms of like, when I went to go see it, once I left the theater, did I feel like I wasted my money? And I can honestly say I did not feel like I wasted my money. But I also kind of had an inkling of what this movie was really going to focus on and what the overall point of the movie was meant to be. To me, it's not really meant to expand more on Ant-Man's character, but to establish some of these newer characters as being major players going forward in the rest of the MCU. And that's kind of what all of Phase 4 was to me, besides how to deal with trauma and, you know, identity and stuff like that. That was a lot of the themes of Phase 4. But it was really about introducing and establishing new characters, and kind of how they did with Wakanda Forever and how they've done with Quantumania is really meant to establish the characters that are going to be continuing on more in the forefront, while these still existing and still important characters are going to be used to help elevate these newer characters to get them to those levels, so that when you do an Avengers the Kang Dynasty or you do a Secret Wars, you have a lot of new established characters that people are invested in, and you have a villain that is justifiably the big enough threat to make all of these characters band together to stop. And I think the movie succeeded in that aspect. There are things in the movie I wish they kind of focused on or gave a little bit more time to, Hope being one of them, and maybe developing Ant-Man's character a little bit more, but I enjoyed the movie. I had fun with it. It's definitely a good mid-tier MCU movie. It's not necessarily going to break my top 10. It might not even break my top 15, but we're talking about over 30 projects. So if you can break between 15 and 20, you're at least a solid B minus, maybe C plus to me. I may do a spoiler review, but it'll probably be maybe a week before that comes out. So expectations, if one does happen or does not just, you know, subscribe to the channel, and that'll usually tell you when I post new things. Let me know any non-spoiler thoughts you have about the movie in the comments down below. That is going to do it for this non-spoiler review for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Hopefully you enjoyed the movie. As always, thank you so much for checking out this and all my videos. I really do appreciate it. If you were new here and this was your first video checking it out, hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully you like and share it around the internet, and subscribe to the channel. It would really help me out, and that's the easiest way to stay notified when I post new stuff on here. I just got done getting through all of the Legend of Vox Machina Season 2, so there are spoiler reviews for that series that are on the channel now. I've got some trailer reactions that I just did from the Super Bowl. They're also on the channel. And I've got some other videos planned that I'm going to be recording this weekend. Might have a few special guests. Just have to wait and see. Follow me on a lot of different social media platforms listed at the end of this video. Like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, until next time, I will catch you later. Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, why not give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends? You can subscribe to the channel by clicking on my gorgeous little face right over there. You can follow me on all the various social media platforms right below. And last but certainly not least, if you've got a few extra minutes, why not check out one of the lovely videos floating right over here. Later.